Welcome to a very fun episode 2, which we've titled Easy Neon Rider. I'm Quildo Faggins, and today we talk of fantastic journeys and high adventure. I realized that my first episode might not have been the funnest topic to start out with, considering the themes of hospitalization and mental illness and addiction. So I wanted to make sure that this episode is extra fun. We're talking hitchhiking stories, vagrancy stories, and street life stories. To start, I brought in a special second mic, my partner in crime, my husband, my Eddie Bear, to help tell our shared stories of life on the road and the street. And he's also here to monitor my usage of the word fucking, because apparently I use it too frequently in episode 1, and it was unbecoming to say the least. The first thing I wanted to start off with was just explaining the reference behind the title Easy Neon Rider. If you're from Canada, oops, sorry, right out the gates. You might remember a show that I believe, I didn't Wikipedia this or anything, so I might be wrong on the dates, but I believe it aired from 1989 to 1994. It was a Canadian drama series about a man named Michael with a savage mullet who owns a ranch, but he goes and he helps like street kids get off the street and get off drugs, and he takes them out to the ranch and teaches them to ride horses and do chores and shit and live a good lifestyle. And it was a great fucking show. And I don't care, it was a great fucking show.
It was a great show.
Me and Ed loved watching that show.
He's actually from 90 to 95.
Oh, shit. Okay, sorry.
Get it straight.
Yeah, see, that's why you're here. That's why I need you here. You fact checker. It was cool because it was filmed in Vancouver, so it's like, if you live in Vancouver, you're familiar with like Vancouver area, it's cool because you can like pick out all the like Vancouver landmarks in the background and stuff, and it's cool because it's like early 90s Vancouver, and it was just such a great show. And like, because all the street kids, they were all like such like characters, right? Like, they had like punkers and like druggies and teenage hookers and stuff, and then you'd be biting your knuckles wondering if they're gonna stay at the ranch and live life right, or if they're gonna run back to the street and do drugs again. It was great.
Remember the fucking episode where Michael fucking goes all crazy and it shows them all wandering on the streets, and he's like a fucking 5 o'clock shadow, like getting drunk in all the bars and shit, and he like passes out in the fucking street or whatever.
Yeah, he leaves the ranch just to go like, and it's like a big montage, and it's like, I forget, the song's so cheesy. And that's the sad thing about like Canadian like television, is that if it goes off air, if some fucking channel isn't like playing reruns of it, it's like no one's making a DVD of that. You never get to see it again. It's just lost. Something so beautiful as Neon Rider, such a beautiful television series, and it's basically lost forever. And I think I found like one episode like chopped up into 3 parts on like YouTube like years back, but like the only thing you can find on like anywhere is just like the theme song on YouTube, which I still visit from time to time because it's comforting. I wish Michael would take me to the ranch. I don't know, we don't have to talk about, we get the Easy Rider reference, right? Like, who doesn't know that movie? If you don't know that movie, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. The only thing I had to say was, I still don't understand how Dennis Hopper's hat never blows off when he's friggin' riding down the street on a friggin' motorcycle at whatever miles per hour. Like,
include it.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, what? Why? Like, it's like,
I don't know.
It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's like, if they want the movie to like be realistic, which I think that was like, they were trying to go for like, a more like kind of serious portrayal. Like, they weren't trying to make it cheesy. They're like, what a biker would do? He'd glue his hat to his head.
I don't know if he actually did.
Or like what I was saying earlier, he's just that fucking cool. That's how cool he is. He gets on his bike and his just like coolness factors just like through the roof, and the hat's just like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying on this fucking head.
Easy as ride. ride is.
Yeah. Yeah, he's so easy, he doesn't even have to worry about his hat. Everyone else would be like, my hat! Like, just blowing away in the wind. All right. Let's get into these traveling stories. There and back again, and then there and back again, and there and back again, and there and back again, and there and back again, etc., etc. All right. Okay. Ed, I want to throw this out at you right away because I just thought of it, like, just before we started. I almost forgot about it. And I remember mentioning it to you, like, a couple years ago, and you were like, I don't fucking remember that at all. I'm like, what? How could you forget that? Okay. Do you remember the guy who gave us a ride? What is that place just outside of Ottawa? Canada? Yeah. We were in Canada, and then he was giving us, like, a short ride, but it was, like, in a pickup truck. And fucking, we get in, and then he's like, starts going off. I forget what happened to him. He had some, like, very severe fucking accident, and he was, like, injured and hospitalized and stuff, and he just got out of the hospital. And, like, I can't remember what it was, but I remember when he was telling me, I was like, oh my God, that's insane. Like, how are you alive, you know? And he's all like, just so, like, matter-of-factly, like, yeah, so I'm on a lot of painkillers right now, and, like, I might pass out at the wheel. Do you guys want, I'll buy you a Tim Hortons ice cap. And we're like, oh, okay. And then I started noticing, like, after we got the ice caps, first off, he was like unreasonably, uncomfortably enjoying his ice cap, like, way too much. Especially for, like, the small cab that we all had to ride in, and, like, I was, like, in the middle, like, cool. And then I started noticing he started looking pretty fucking drowsy. I think he even went off about, like, how many pills he took, and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. And I was like, we're gonna die. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. I remember asking you, like, a couple years ago, and you're like, I don't remember that. But, yeah, I just wanted to see, because I just wanted to see if you still friggin' remembered that one. All right, and then, okay, I'm just gonna throw out a few things here. Brooks, Alberta is the fucking Twilight Zone. Fuck that place. It is a nightmare. It's like that episode of the Twilight Zone with William Shatner and his wife. They get stuck in that little shit town, and they're like too afraid to leave.
In the cafeteria, and they keep talking to the little the devil thing. They put in the pennies, and then like.
That's like Brooks, Alberta, except that town was actually like a quaint little town with a diner, and Brooks, Alberta just has a fucking Husky gas station and a fucking, like, slaughterhouse where everyone works. And it stinks like shit because there's too many goddamn cows there. And,
I remember that time we got the ride with the fucking, that, like, crazy, like, Arab dude. And, like, Freya's barking, and fucking, he's like, okay, you put the little one in the trunk. And no, she will die.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, you can't put dogs in trunks. And he's like, well, where will you put her?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, put the bags in the trunk, and she can sit on my lap.
Yeah, and then we're like, okay, we just want to go to Medicine Hat, so then fucking, just drop us off by the fucking mall. He's like, no, you're coming with me to Brooks, Alberta. I'm going to get you a job. You can work in the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to get you a job in Brooks. And we're like, fuck that. Like, God. I would freaking, oh man, I'd pay so much money just to fucking never have to ever stop there again. Or remember the other time we saw the world's most attractive couple, or the world's grossest fucking couple at, God, they were like something, it was like prosthetics in a movie to like some Deliverance fucking shit, like how like white trash redneck they looked, and the woman like uttered like a few words in this like the most gravelly voice I ever heard. She's like, "That's a nice dog," and they were so gross. And this is coming from us, and we're gross, dirty people, and they were so fucking gross. We were eating pizza subs, and we both immediately just like put them down, and like we just lost our appetite. That's how disgusting these people were upon sight. It was fucking upsetting, to say the least. It was horrible. And not to mention too, again, it just smells like fucking shit there, like 24/7. It's horrible. I was like, I've had enough of Brooks, Alberta. It was funny because like Chilliwack kind of stinks. Even Abbotsford kind of stinks sometimes in the summertime because there's a lot of rural shit around here, and it's like when I smell that smell, I shudder because I think of Brooks. All right. Oh, another funny one. Okay, let's just keep fucking doling these out because I wrote them all down earlier. My little point forms are hilarious. But okay, when we were in North Bay and we got dropped off, we're going to Montreal, so we got dropped off on the eastern edge of town, but it was right by this friggin' lake. We set up our tent, and then the mosquitoes were so friggin' bad. They were like,
I remember this.
Yeah, they were seeping in through the tent. And then, and it was so fucking hot out too. I was wearing jeans. That was before I banned jeans from traveling altogether and just went with spandex. Well, that reminds me. Oh, that's another thing. Okay. Yeah, don't get ahead of myself here. All right. And then, so the mosquitoes were just like fucking pouring in our tent to the point where there was more mosquitoes in our tent than outside. And it was just like we were just housing them. And it was awful. Just the biting us and the noise. And we're like, okay, we can't sleep here. So we walked back a little bit. We didn't want to walk back too far because we wanted to be close to the edge of town in the morning to be able to hitch out. And we see this like construction site or like work site.
Yeah, it was a bunch of like half like trailers. Like,
yeah, but like what was the work site? Like what were they doing?
It was a work site, so it was like...
What were they working on?
I don't fucking know. But it's like, yeah, they have like office trailers.
Yeah, bush bungalows.
Yeah.
But they only had 3 walls. And then the other wall, where the other wall should be, they just had some like clear like plastic, or I can't remember if it was clear, but it was like some kind of tarping that was like just like put over it. And even that, like, it wasn't like sealed off completely. There was still like little gaps in it. But we're like, okay, we checked to see if it was open. It was open. We're like, sweet, let's sleep in here. But then we're like, oh, the mosquitoes are still going to sneak in through the gaps there. So we're like, we'll double up we'll fortify our bed. We'll set up the tent inside the trailer. So then the mosquitoes have to get in through the gap in the tarp and then get into our tent. So it will severely reduce the amount of mosquitoes. There still were a few that got in. Those were the champions.
Yeah, I remember when we went in there, because it was so fucking hot that we took off all our clothes.
Yeah, and yeah,
without realizing that there's fucking insulation all over the ground.
Yeah, and my jeans were like, I was sweating so bad, they were like stuck to me. So when I peeled them off, I just peeled them off inside out, and I just threw them into the insulation. And that'll come back to haunt me in a moment. So, anyways, we were much happier sleeping there. But we were like, saying before we go to bed, we're like, oh man, what if like they go to move this trailer in the morning and we're like still sleeping in it? And we're like, no, that won't happen. Then, our luck, we're awoken to the feeling of the trailer moving and the sound of a vehicle hauling it. And we're like naked because we were so hot. We like slept like naked and our clothes are everywhere and we got to take down the tent and like shit's all out of our bags and stuff. And we're like, holy fuck. And the thing's moving. So we're like trying to like get our fucking shit and we're like falling all over the place and stuff. And we're like, fuck.
Like,
and we're like, they're going to take us away. Where the fuck are we going? Like, and then so we're like, and then fucking, and I go to put my jeans on and get them back right side, and then I put them on, and I was still hot, and then all the insulation, because they were so sweaty and wet, all the insulation stuck to them on the inside, so I just put on fucking jeans full of, like, fiberglass insulation, and I was so hot and so itchy, yeah, and mosquito bites. I was never more irritated in my life, and while being jostled around by a moving friggin' trailer, then all of a sudden it stops, and the driver gets out and we're like, oh fuck, we're in trouble now. But then dude was actually like super cool. And he was all like, oh, I thought I heard some people back here. And he saw us like we're trying to like take the tent poles down and stuff and get all your shit together. And he's like, I always thought these things would make good places for people to sleep. And I wondered why nobody had done it yet. So we're like, oh cool, so we're not in trouble. So that was like a nice, and then he like, let us fucking get our shit together so we could get out of there while the thing's not moving. And yeah, that was cool. He was super chill. So that was a happy ending. Oh, except for the fact that we were still fucking itchy from mosquito bites and insulation and dying of heat because we're Northern Ontario people. And it's a bit chillier even in the summertime. I mean, there's pretty hot summers there, but god damn, you go down south just a little bit and man, it's so much more hot. I can't handle it. I like my moderate West Coast. Plus, because I'm an angry person in general, and I always say it, I think, like, people from the East are much more, like, angry, like, lose your temper types. And that's why I think a lot of us move out West, because if we're going to stay out there with all the other uptight, angry, lose your temper types, there's going to be a lot more violence and a lot more fucking, bloodshed. So we come here, some of us, I don't, but a lot of us just chill out, smoke weed, and just take it easy, and deal with more laid-back people. So there's not so many incidents happening. What next? Okay. Living out of Turner's car. This is a vagrancy tale, because this is living on the street, home bumming it. But we were kind of styling, because this time, we had a car. Although it was a little tiny car, there was like 5 of us and like 4 dogs at one point, and like all our fucking bags and gear and shit, and it was just cramped. It wasn't like I actually like would like not look forward to driving places at all, even though it was like much more convenient, because it's like, oh, okay, cool, we don't have to worry about like, getting there on transit or, walking or whatever, like it did have its benefits, but it was not a comfortable ride. And I was always squished between Edmund here and our friend Spencer, and with the dogs on my lap, and like, cause Ed and Spencer would just like keep pushing the dog. They'd be like, oh, they didn't want the dogs on their laps. So they just keep pushing them all on my lap. So I'd just be like, okay, so just squish between you guys and then have the dogs squished on top of me. And nowhere to keep my legs because we got bags all between our legs. But it was still, it still had its benefits. It was fancy slumming it. So one night, we went to go sleep at Sunset Beach, downtown Vancouver. And we were, like, sleeping in, like, what was that thing? Like I don't know, people... like, people roll...
Road hockey fucking...
Yeah, like, road hockey or, like, rollerblader things, like, yeah.
Road hockey rink.
Yeah, and, the parking lot was right next to it, but you're not allowed to park there at night. They close the gates. But we were just like... what are they going to do? Tow the car? We're like, we're sleeping right here. If they come, we're going to hear it. The dogs are going to bark. And we're all going to sleep. And then we were reassured because someone walked by close, threw something in the garbage, and all the dogs started howling and barking up a storm. And we're like, yeah, see, if someone comes to tow the car, we'll hear it. We'll just take it out, and stuff.
I fucking wait.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then, Ed wakes up at the break of dawn, probably like 6 a.m, I think. And he's all like, guys, you're not going to believe this, but the car is gone. And we all woke up all stupid, like, what do you mean the car's gone? He's like the car's not here anymore. And we're like, what the fuck? We're all like rubbing our eyes like twice. Just like make sure like we're not just like seeing things. Like, are we just like imagining the car's not here? I don't know, it's red. I don't see anything big and red. And then we're like, God damn it, dogs, you friggin' failed us. You had one job. All you had to do was let us know. And we're like, that's the sneakiest motherfucking tow truck guy ever. We're like, he must have just like put it in neutral. So like fucking rolled it out or some shit. Like, fucking sneaky motherfucker. He's just like, oh no, you little punks, you're not fucking getting this car. You're not even gonna know I'm here.
It's so funny because in Turner's like, what? Oh fuck! And then he's like, okay, and just goes back.
Yeah, we're like, well, yeah, nothing we can do about it this moment. So let's get some shut eye. Yeah. Damn dogs. Ain't that like a dog? It's like, guys, there's some really important information I gotta tell you. Someone just threw a piece of garbage out there. Oh, I didn't think you guys wanted to know about the car being taken.
Yeah, like, I'd woken up like not even like an hour before that, and it was still there. And then like the next time I woke up again, and it's fucking gone. I had to fucking take a second. Like, wait, what?
That tow truck driver probably like drove a block and then just like pulled over and just like cackled to himself like maniacally for like 10 minutes. And he's like, I fucking love my job.
Our insurance car was fucking awesome. Remember that time when we stopped at the lights and Travis like sneezed on that guy?
Yeah, like oh man, imagine if that was now during COVID time. Yeah,
it was just like drive.
Yeah, it was such perfect timing. Such perfect comedic timing. That guy, I always think about that guy. I think that guy probably committed suicide. You know, like, cause he looked like he was like West End, like fancy, probably has a really expensive fucking condo, wears V-neck t-shirts, puts too much hair product in, probably is like harassing women online, but trying to like look super cool on his social media. But yeah, it was such perfect timing because we just rolled up to the red light. And then Travis just happened to have to sneeze and his windows rolled down because it was hot. And he just turned and it was like the wettest. It was like a fucking fire hose. Like the amount of fucking spit that went flying. Like we all saw it. Like it was insane. And it went right in the guy's face, like point blank. Like if that was like a shotgun, like that guy's head would be blown off. You know? All those little friggin' BB pellet things that they have in shotgun shells. Like, it was insane. I've never before nor since have I seen a sneeze so wet and produce such amount of moisture and liquid airborne. And the guy just looked, and then just as soon as we rolled up and as soon as the sneeze happened, as soon as we took off, because the light changed and it was like we didn't even really pull to a stop. We just kind of coasted in and then just rolled off. So it was just like the perfect drive-by friggin' biological warfare sneeze attack. And that guy was like, I remember like we were looking back at him and he was just like friggin', his world was shattered. Like, and just like him like being able to look in the car and just see all of us and just like he probably doesn't even want to be within a 5-foot radius of anyone like us. Like he's just like, oh my god, you know, it's like we're just like germ warfare in human form, you know? He's just all like, I can't be breathing air within 5 feet of these people, you know? It's like, look at them. They put dogs on their lap, they have bags under their feet. Like, I bet they've been wearing those clothes for more than one day. Do they even have showers?
You know, also like that time when we were flying a sign and like then we went back to the car and like those people were yelling like, oh, you fucking pose. You fucking,
yeah.
What is that, your grandma's car?
No, what they said, they were like, oh yeah, you fucking just borrow your mom's car to come and pretend to be homeless so you could beg for change. And then we're like, hey, it's not our mom's car, it's our grandma's car. Say another thing about living out of Turner's car. How we were like the nerdiest street kids and how we kept filling up. Not only did we make our own RPG games to play at the school we were sleeping at, but we would also go like religiously to like all the thrift stores and just buy like random board games and shit like that. And like the car was already packed full and then we started just like packing it full with like all these damn board games too. Remember when we drove off with the Risk on the top of the car and then we lost the Risk and we're like, no, Risk.
Or fucking, remember we were playing the fucking game at the school and there was like all these helicopters and like cops like fucking surrounding the place, and then that guy came up with like a fucking bloody knife. He's like, I just fucking stabbed a hippie.
Yeah.
And we're like, he's like, what are you guys doing, playing this game? Cool. Yeah. And he just like walks off. We're like, what the fuck?
Or we're like, or he said that, we're like, because we're like, oh shit, how do we answer this? Like, Yeah, cool, yeah. Fuck hippies, you know, like, fucking good. You got them? That's good. Fucking one less, right? Am I right, bro?
Yeah, we're like, wait, what the fuck? Are they coming with helicopters to bust us for playing this fucking game?
Yeah. That's like such stupid, like, weed smoking, like, logic. Like, oh, man, they found us. We're playing an illegal, unsanctioned, homemade RPG at a schoolyard after school hours. 3 helicopters. They're coming for us. And people would always be like, oh, you guys are gonna stay and drink? We're like, no, we're gonna go play our game. They're like, oh, you're gonna go play your game, eh? Yeah.
I remember that time, like, Travis and fucking Fats was, like, getting in that fight, and Travis was like, fuck this fuck world, I'd rather be an elf, and Travis is like, bah, what the fuck, you're in your fucking green tights.
Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, he's like, go wear some green fucking tights. I remember even Travis, like, shows up, he's all, like, just, like, huffing and puffing about it.
He's like, no, stand up for me.
Me and you were just like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I like this Fats, so he's talking about, like, some kind of fucking Santa Claus elf or something.
Yeah. Green tights. I remember fucking, oh man, Fats is pretty funny sometimes. We like put on Angel Witch. He's like, what the fuck is this? He's like, just couldn't cope with it. Like, out of his realm. He's one of those punkers that doesn't like metal. And I usually say, never trust a punk it's opposite. Never trust a metalhead that doesn't know punk, but you can make exceptions for punkers that don't listen to metal. Because punkers are cooler, generally.
Yeah, Fats is pretty cool. But remember that time when we broke the key off of Krusty's place?
Oh, yeah.
Me and Ryan had to kick in his door, and fucking me and Fats got in a fight.
Yeah. Yeah, he could be a bit argumentative. I remember when I went back by myself and went to see fucking Distort Fest 4. Fucking, he like skateboarded by me. And I recognized him, but I could tell he was going by so fast, he was just like, I know that person, but he couldn't place his finger on it right away. And because I looked different, you know, like, because I wasn't as, like, crusty as I was when I was living on the street. So he was just like, I know that person. And I was just like, I was going to, like, say something, and I was just like, fuck it. I got fucking a bunch of whiskey and crack cocaine. I'm going to have a one-woman party. What else? Is there anything else about Turner's car? Yeah, that might be the most interesting stuff about it.
When we lived by the car, that was the time when fucking we were under the bridge and all those cops came down, and Rex went to attack the cop.
Yeah, I'm surprised I heard about that.
They had all the guns out. And we're like, no! And fucking, he just missed her fucking throat.
Yeah, I saw it from the side because I was taking a piss. And then, so I saw it from the side view. And like, I was the only one that saw it from the side view. Like, you guys all saw it. You were, like, witnessing it from, like, from Rex's, like, back. And the cop head on. But I saw it from the side, and Rex literally used her thigh as leverage to jump higher to try and bite her jugular. And she had her gun drawn, and 3 other cops had their guns drawn, and we're all like, Rex is gonna die. Yeah, but she just matrix dodged, like, by a few inches out of the way of him biting her neck, and then I yelled his name, and then he came to me and stuff, and I got him on the leash. And then, was that the same time? No, that was a different time. Oh, when we were making the burgers under the bridge with Scott, and the cops came. They're like, you gotta put out, they all knew Scott by name. They're like, Scott, you know, you're not supposed to be doing this. And he's like, oh, the smoke will go down once the flames go. And we were grilling burgers. We had a shopping cart that we turned upside down and put tinfoil on to cook the burgers on over the fire. And the cops were like, all like, so impressed and amazed. They're just like stuck around just to like see how we cooked the burgers on the shopping cart. And they're like, oh man, because the shopping cart like bottom is like angled. And they're like, it's like a George Foreman grill. The grease runs right off. And so they just were like, they just got all distracted by our inventive and resourceful cooking methods that they didn't even bother to tell us to put the fire out. Or they said, they're like, okay, we'll put it out after you eat your burgers. So we're like, okay, that's kind of a victory for us. Like, have a good day, boys. Okay. Here's a 2-in-1 theme of Tales from the Road. 2 tales of possible murder scenarios. You know what I'm talking about. These are the rides where we were sure we got picked up by some homicidal maniac that was gonna drive us off some dirt road and fucking kill us. And maybe rape our dead bodies. But
if we were lucky.
Yeah. I mean, were we cute enough? Were we cute enough when we're dead? No. The first one, the first time we thought we were gonna get murdered, for sure. Like, we were, like, looking at each other, like, just giving, glances with eyes that said it all, like, yeah, you think we're gonna get murdered? I think so, too. Yeah, this is murder. Yeah, like, fucking, I don't know. We were worried. So we got picked up by this guy. Oh, first off, we'd been out in, like, the blistering, like, heat without any shade besides, we would always bring umbrellas, because umbrellas are actually way more handy in the sun than they are in the rain even. Because in the rain, you still got wet. Even with an umbrella, it's still splashing around you and comes in at angles, that you can't get. But if you're like in Indian Head, Saskatchewan, on the prairies, and there's not a tree in sight, and it's like a blisteringly hot, sunny day with no clouds in sight, an umbrella could save your life and prevent you from getting heat stroke. But we also had a dog, and so the dog was priority. So I was like shading the dog with the umbrella and taking all the heat myself. And we were hitchhiking we were trying to hitch a ride there in that spot in Indian Head, Saskatchewan for like probably 8 hours at least. And it's like I started off thumbing, like standing up. Then I was sitting down on my bag, thumbing. Then I was like leaning back, like just dying.
That was the time too when fucking finally somebody pulls over, and then we go to load up, and then you realize there's ticks over, and you're like, I got fucking ticks on me! And you start freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, you guys have fun.
Yeah.
And just like drives off.
Yeah, I'm like doing the little like dancing, and I'm like pointing at my armpit. I'm like, there's ticks on me! There's ticks on me! And he's like, oh well, this is my wife's car, and and just made up some excuse and like just bolted, and then like. After the 8 hours when we're like dead on the side of the road, like I could barely even hold my arm to even shade Rex anymore, and I'm just like sprawled out like dead, just the vultures can come and get me now. And then this pub crawl bus pulls up, the driver slows down so everyone could hoot and holler at us and then take pictures of us. It's just like, yeah, okay, cool, we're just dying on the side of the road here. Enjoy your pub crawl. Cool. Yeah. Don't ask permission for photos. Yeah, you're just taking pictures of dead bodies. They're crime scene photos. But then, not long after that, just when we were just about to fucking welcome the vultures to eat us, this guy pulls over. I think he had a minivan. And he seemed like a very like nice kind of Ned Flanders sort of mild-mannered guy, And he was like, oh, if you guys aren't in a rush, you should come spend the night out at my cabin. And we're like, well, and then we're still just trying to like be polite and stuff. And then we're like, oh, I don't know. We just want to get, so we're like, on the road early and stuff. And he's all like, oh, I really think you should come. And then we're like, well, where is it? And he's like, oh, about like 20 minutes off the highway on a dirt road. And we're like, I don't know. It's like, and it was like, that doesn't sound safe. And then he's like,
driving, but then he just
bringing
it up again. He's like, no, I really think, no, you know what? I insist. And then like he just turns down the fucking
at first he said that because he kept saying like things in a creepier way. Because then he's all like, oh yeah, my wife will have dinner ready. We'll eat dinner. And I'll be like, won't? And I said, isn't your wife gonna like find it strange that you're like bringing home hitchhikers? And he's like, oh no, she expects me to. And I was like, oh my god, he's killed before. And I was like, yeah. And then he just makes up our mind for us and decides,
you know what, you come into my cabin.
Yeah,
like,
and he just like pulls this fat fucking turn off the fucking highway onto a dirt road. And then he's just like, and we're like, and then he's like, I just like to show people, you know, Saskatchewan, what it's really like off the highway, because everyone just says that it's flat. Because all they see is what's on the number 1 on the Trans-Canada, because it's just the prairie lands. He's like, but look, he's like, you just gotta go a few kilometers down, and then sure enough, we'd like dip down, and there was all these like beautiful rolling hills and stuff like that, and then it turned out the guy wasn't a serial killer. He's just like a super nice guy that always picks up hitchhikers, always brings them to his cabin. His wife expects it because she's a hospitable, nice lady too, so she doesn't mind making big dinners and feeding people, and they have a guest cabin, and so we got to stay in the guest cabin, and our dog even got his own room.
And his own giant plate of fucking...
Yeah,
like,
a huge...
fucking thing.
Yeah, a huge plate of insane dinner. We got a huge plate of insane dinner. We got to go swimming in this beautiful lake. And then the guy gave us like a little tour. It's like a little like cabin village place there. And they have like this little little town hall thing.
Fucking little and
it was like, little like
shit.
square dancing, old timey hootenanny. It was like being transported back into like the 20s or something like that. And like everyone's like square dancing and like country music fiddles and stuff like that. It was so cute. And we're like, oh man, not too long ago, we were so worried that this guy was going to murder us. And he was just like the super nicest guy in the world. And his wife was super nice. And then they drove us to the highway in the morning. And they gave us money, too. Yeah. They were rad. Man, anyone who gets the pleasure or the luck of being picked up by that guy and going to his cabin, they're lucky, man. I wonder how many people have, like, just been like, no, you know, like, just jerks, like, you know, people are just like, no, fuck that, and, like, just miss out on it because they're just like, man, this guy's a loser, this guy's, you know, or maybe they think he's creepy too or something like that, you know, and just like, because we were just kind of like, like we were, you know, and like, so he just like, but I'm sure other people are just like more staunchly just like, no, you know, and it's just like, well, you guys missed out because you're gonna go sleep on the fucking ground tonight. You could have had a nice dinner and a nice swim and a nice private guest cabin to sleep in yourself. It's funny because you know how like in different provinces they call it different things. Like in Ontario it's called camp, like we know it camp, but then the other places it's called cabins and stuff like that. It's like I wanted to be proper and not call it a camp because it's Saskatchewan, and I'm like, they don't call it that there. I'm pretty sure they call it cabin. I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I definitely know they don't call it camp. That's like an Ontario thing. I think it's there might be some other eastern place, maybe in New Brunswick or something. Maybe they call it camp too or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure like all the prairies call it cabin. What's the other? And then there's cottage. Yeah, there's camp, cabin, and cottage. They're all the same damn thing. It's funny because I like camp the best, but it makes the least sense. Because it's like you go camping, you go to camp. I don't know. It's friggin' weird. All right. Okay, the second tale of possible murder. I think we were in Yale, BC?
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And we get picked up.
2 sketch bags.
By two weird fucking looking dudes. It could be like drug dealers or bikers or something like that in this like weird sketchy old like child molester van with no windows and no seats in the back. It's just like, so we just have to sit on the ground. And then we stop, or I think we were already kind of weirded out by them. Did they already say that? Yeah, they're like, oh, we just have to make a quick stop somewhere.
No, they didn't say anything.
And then, we picked up that other native hitchhiker.
Yeah, and then, because remember,
and that guy
all of a
sketchy.
sudden, they turned off. So we're like, what are they doing?
Oh, yeah, and then they said it right as they were doing it. They're like, oh, yeah, by the way, we just have to, like, make a quick stop somewhere.
Yeah, they're like, we gotta do some things and like made it all weird.
Yeah, just said it all weird and shit. And the native guy was all sketchy too, and we're just like stuck in the back with him too, and we're just all like, okay, all right, all right, okay. And then we stop at this house, and they get out, they go in the house, and then we're like just sitting there with this like sketchy native guy fucking staring at us, like not blinking, and we're like, okay. And then they finally emerge from the house with cat carriers and fresh chocolate chip cookies. And they're like, does anyone want some chocolate chip cookies? And they're like, yeah, we just had to pick up these cat carriers because we're going to China for a vacation for the winter, and we need, our friends are babysitting his cats, and we need to move the cats. And we're like, oh, so we're not getting murdered, it's just kitties and cookies. Like, freaking some people, man, they can throw you for a loop. I was like, okay. This is my little like blurb that I wrote. West Virginians are exactly as stereotypes told me.
Oh my
God. This one's insane. Oh my God. This couple was on par with the grossness of the Brooks couple. They're like some Deliverance friggin', oh god damn, so upsetting upon sight. Just like, at first we thought the guy was cool, because he was talking about Lord of the Rings and shit like that, and we're like, oh sweet, cool, we got something in common, so we're like, I'll talk about it. But then it turned out he was just using it as a metaphor for his weird Christianite agenda, and we're like, oh, that's lame. So you think Aragorn is Jesus? And then he puts on all this weird friggin' like Jesus radio shit, and we're just like, oh god. And his friggin',
like, you guys worship the devil? I'm like, no.
Yeah. And his like creepy ass wife or girlfriend or whatever, she like didn't say a single thing. All she did was just like light cigarettes for him, and she looked so friggin' inbred. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm taking her on a tour because she's never been outside West Virginia." And I'm like, "You don't say." She looks like a very cultured, traveled woman. Considering her friggin' her dad is also her mother's dad. I'm assuming something along those lines, and
she had a couple extra rows of teeth.
Yeah. Oh fuck! And she just looked like she had melted. Like,
I don't even think she said a single fucking word.
No, she didn't. She just lit cigarettes for him. And at first we were like, yeah, this guy's cool, and we're like, cool, because they had two kittens and two puppies. So we're like, yeah, kittens and puppies, this is awesome. Then we realized they were friggin' infested with fleas, and they were like on us the whole time. And we're like, oh god damn it, now we're gonna give fleas to all our dogs and everything. Like, this is a nightmare. And we're like, I just got fleas biting us and shit. Like, it was an infestation of fleas. I'm like, how did they even get across the border with these animals? Because like, you usually have to have like, papers that show that they have shots and stuff like that and everything. Like, you can't just like bring an animal across the border. And it's like, how did they just get these flea bags across the friggin' border? And then he was driving like so friggin' fast.
Literally, he was doing like 200.
Yeah, kilometers.
He's pulling like fucking over 100 miles per hour because it's an American car.
Yeah, and on the worst stretch of highway in Ontario,
like 140, like 160.
The most dangerous stretch of highway in Ontario. It's like
you realize we're gonna die.
Yeah, or like it's like so windy, and it's like potholes, or like it's like gravelly, like it needs to be repaved and shit. And there's like moose and deer darting out at you at any moment and stuff. And we're like, this is like the worst.
Stupidest fucking thing.
Yeah, we're like, this is the worst place to be speeding like this. And it was just like, I was like scared. I was like, my mom always told me not to get in cars with people who drive like this. She's gonna be so mad at me when I'm dead. And we had drugs on us too, and
a load of fucking coke.
Yeah, and
he gets pulled over.
He keeps getting pulled over by the cops
like 7 fucking times. 7 fucking different.
Yeah, and we keep having to pull out our ID and have the cops run our name. And I think there was something even kind of sketchy with like the registration on the car too, or something. Like, but like they're still just letting them get away with it or something.
Because he said as soon as he got to Thunder Bay, he's gonna cross back into Minnesota.
Yeah, and and he's like, he said he'd be in Thunder Bay by that night, but then he kept stopping at all these places and like eating. He had a big fat garbage bag full of dumpster donuts, and he kept like giving us dumpster donuts, and like we took them the first couple times, and after that we're just like, God damn it, we don't want your fucking dumpster donuts. You're making more stops. We just want to get the fuck to Thunder Bay now. And then we got to Scribner, which is like a couple hours outside Thunder Bay.
Or like
like maybe two and a half. No, because I think like Nipigon is like about an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think it's an hour to Nipigon, another hour to Scribner.
Yeah, so I think it's like 2 hours. And he pulls into the police station, and we're like, what? Again, we have drugs on us, so we're like, what are we doing here? Hey, bud, what's going on? Why aren't we driving to Thunder Bay? And he's all like, first he says, oh, well, I just want to ask them if they have any like resources for like homeless people or something. And we're like, they're not going to have anything here. This is a very small town. We're like, we know this area well. They're like, the only place you're anywhere near here you're going to find any sort of resources for homeless people is Thunder Bay. So let's get there. Why are we in the parking lot of the cop station? And he's all like, how much money do you guys have on you? And we had like $30 or something, but we just told him, we're like, none. We have no money. Because you don't fucking tell people that shit unless you're an idiot. And then he's all like, oh, well, I'm going to go in and tell the police that I was robbed. And I don't know if and then, so we're like, oh, okay, he was trying to set us up. He wanted to know the exact denomination of money, like that we were such idiots that we'd tell him, and then go in and say that he was robbed for that exact amount of money, and then we'd be found with that exact amount of money, and like, just, we're like, okay, cool, bye. Like, we just bailed right then and there. We're like, we're not sitting in this freaking car with these flea bag fucking animals and your fucking disgusting melted fucking inbred fucking wife and your goddamn Jesus radio and your blasphemous interpretation of Lord of the Rings. Not 1 second longer in this fucking cop parking lot. And so we walk up to the little tiny business strip there is in Scribner, which is like not much at all. It's like a gas station, motel,
and a Pizza Hut Express.
And so we get some first things first. We get some pizza.
Pizza Hut Express.
Yeah. We need some pizza, and then another cool, generous soul approaches us. It's the owner of the motel, and I guess they built a new lobby. So there was like an old empty lobby that they didn't use. And he's just like, hey, you guys need a place to sleep? And at first we were like, kind of like, apprehensive or like, what's this guy's like agenda? Like, why does he want to know where we're going to sleep? We thought at first maybe he was going to like try and like rat us out to the cops or something if he saw us sleeping somewhere outside. But then he was like, oh, you can go sleep in the old empty motel lobby. I always, he's like, it's mine, and I always let, like, travelers stay in there if I see them, coming through town. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. And we go in there, and it's like this dope-ass friggin' shag, 70s, like, shag carpet, and we're like, all right, this is the perfect place to do our drugs. And we had been such a trying day for so long. And we were so worried that we were going to get busted or that the cops would take them, shit. And so we're like, oh, these are our victory reward drugs, and we're doing them on this shag carpet, and then I'm going to sit here and rub this carpet and like just enjoy the texture. That was fun. That's funny because we did it was cocaine, and we did it, and it was like, we were so tired, like, we didn't even stay up that long, and like, the shag carpet just like, drew us in like sirens on the sea. Yeah, and I was just like, holy shit. Everything I ever heard or saw on TV about people from West Virginia is like, you can't speak for all of them, but goddamn did we ever meet the most friggin' archetypal. Yeah. I'm surprised they weren't playing fucking banjos and had bare feet. And raping people. Let's see, what time are we at here? We got so many more stories, but there's so many. Oh, don't tell me that. Okay. All right. Ignore that, guys. I was just worried that it stopped recording because my screensaver came on, and I was like, oh. All right. Well, I think that's enough stories for today. We might have to have an episode 2 because a volume 2. Yeah. Episode 2, volume 2.
Yeah.
Because we've got so many more stories, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the wacky adventures that we told today, and we're gonna head out here. I just wanted to say that I wanted to dedicate this episode to the littlest hobo ever, our beloved Freya girl, Freya. She was such a sweetheart. She was so good. She learned to, when we'd get the big rig rides, she was too tiny to like jump down from the like seat herself, so I would bend over and she learned to like jump onto my back and then jump off onto the ground, and she was just the best little traveler companion you could have. Such a good little hot water bottle in my sleeping bag.
Sick her on people.
Yeah, and you could sick her on people, but that will be for volume 2. So cheers to Freya. We love her and we miss her, and we hope you guys enjoyed our stories, and we'll be back soon. Bye bye.